Hidden beneath decades of neglect, a Messerschmitt Bf 109 lies motionless among dense vegetation. The fuselage, once brilliant in its burnt orange-brown glory, is now covered by layers of rust, dirt, and invasive plants that have taken over this legendary war machine. Time has been merciless to this aircraft, transforming what was once a symbol of engineering excellence into a shadow of its former self, barely recognizable under the weight of abandonment. The first evaluation reveals the extent of the damage. Each metal panel tells a story of decades exposed to the elements. The structure remains surprisingly intact, but corrosion has penetrated deeply into critical components. The wide white band near the tail section, once a striking contrast against the orange-brown fuselage, is now barely visible beneath layers of green moss and oxidation. The large yellow number 14 with its dark outline, prominently displayed on the fuselage side, has faded to almost nothing, its paint peeling away in irregular patches that expose the bare metal beneath. The black two-blade propeller, now locked by rust, remains frozen in time. The engine cowling, with its characteristic white front section, is severely corroded, revealing exposed metal beneath what was once impeccable paint. The illustrated emblem on the cowl's side, once a proud identification mark, is now obscured by layers of grime and deterioration. The gray metallic component visible on the upper nose section, an exhaust fitting from the aircraft's operational days, is completely oxidized, its original finish lost to the relentless passage of time. The transparent cockpit, protected by its brown frame, has partially resisted abandonment. The sequential rectangular windows, though dirty and cracked, still maintain their original geometry. Each pane of glass tells its own story of survival, some fractured by falling debris, others clouded by years of exposure to moisture and temperature extremes. Behind the cabin, the vertical mast and stretched cable extending toward the tail show signs of structural fatigue, the thin antenna wire sagging from years without maintenance, yet somehow still connected to both ends of the fuselage. The main landing gear, robust in its gray-green structure, bears the weight of time with remarkable resilience. The large wheel with its dark tire and olive-gray hub is sunken into the muddy ground, the rubber compressed and cracked from supporting the aircraft's mass for so many years without movement. The landing gear strut, painted in that distinctive gray-green tone, shows surface corrosion, but maintains its structural integrity. Near the tail, the small tail wheel, partially buried in accumulated earth and debris, completes the picture of a machine that has not moved in generations. The carefully orchestrated removal begins. Heavy equipment slowly lifts the corroded fuselage from its resting place. Decades of accumulated earth fall away as the aircraft emerges from the vegetation, revealing the full extent of damage hidden beneath the overgrowth. Vines and roots have intertwined with the landing gear and wrapped around portions of the wings. As the Bf 109 rises from its earthen grave, sunlight strikes surfaces that have not seen direct light in years, highlighting every crack, every patch of rust, every testament to the aircraft's long dormancy. Under controlled lighting, the Bf-109 enters its restoration sanctuary. The workshop environment reveals every imperfection with unforgiving clarity. The orange-brown fuselage, now fully visible under bright examination lights, shows the true extent of paint deterioration. The faded white band, the barely visible yellow 14 marking, the geometric black-white cross insignia near the fuselage number, the small yellow circle containing the number 100 near the tail's trailing edge, all await the meticulous process ahead. Every rivet, every panel line, every maintenance marking becomes visible under this scrutiny. The inspection continues with methodical precision. Each square inch of the fuselage is examined for structural compromise. The wing surfaces, once smooth and aerodynamic, now display the ravages of environmental exposure. The panel lines along the dorsal surface of the wing, those characteristic metal seams and cutouts visible on both the wing and fuselage, are carefully traced and documented. Some panels have separated slightly from their neighboring sections, creating gaps where moisture has penetrated and accelerated internal corrosion. The geometric black-white cross insignia, positioned near the prominent yellow 14, is photographed and measured to ensure accurate reproduction during the final painting stages. Disassembly follows a precise sequence. Each corroded fastener is carefully documented and removed. The canopy frame separates from the fuselage, revealing decades of accumulated moisture damage in the cockpit area. Wing panels are methodically detached, exposing internal structures that have not seen light since the aircraft's original assembly. The brown frame with its rectangular window sequence comes away carefully, preserving as much of the original material as possible. Metal panels along the fuselage, marked with those fine black technical lines characteristic of period aircraft, are removed one by one, revealing the skeleton beneath. The propeller assembly requires special attention. The two large curved blades, locked in their fixed position for so long, resist initial attempts at removal. Penetrating oils are applied to the hub mechanism, allowed to seep into the corroded threads and bearings. Hours pass before the propeller can be safely detached from the engine shaft. Once removed, the true condition of the black paint becomes apparent. What appeared to be merely weathered from a distance is actually a complex pattern of deterioration, with the original glossy black finish surviving only in small protected pockets near the blade roots. Chemical treatments dissolve layers of oxidation. Wire brushing reveals bare metal beneath the corrosion. The characteristic markings, the yellow 14, the geometric black-white cross insignia, the small yellow circle with 100, emerge slowly through methodical cleaning, their original vibrancy gradually returning. Each stroke of the wire brush removes decades of accumulated rust, exposing the aluminum alloy underneath. The process is painstaking, requiring hours of careful work to avoid damaging the original metal beneath the corrosion. Areas around the rivets receive special attention, as these points are particularly susceptible to moisture penetration and oxidation. The white engine cowling section undergoes intensive restoration. The original white paint, now yellowed and stained almost beyond recognition, is carefully stripped away. Beneath this outer layer, the metal shows surprisingly little corrosion in some areas, suggesting the paint once provided excellent protection. The illustrated emblem on the cowling's lateral surface, barely visible under the grime, is traced and recorded before complete paint removal. This emblem, a period-specific insignia without modern legibility, will be faithfully recreated as part of the authentic restoration. Damaged metal sections are carefully repaired and replaced. Welding restores structural integrity to critical load-bearing components. Gray primer coating is applied uniformly across the entire airframe, creating the foundation for the authentic restoration that will follow. The primer goes on in thin, even layers, each coat allowed to cure properly before the next application. This base layer will protect the metal and provide the ideal surface for the final paint scheme. Every panel, every structural member, every component receives this protective treatment. The landing gear receives comprehensive rebuilding. The gray-green structure is disassembled completely, each component cleaned, inspected, and either restored or replaced. The large main wheel is fitted with a new dark tire, though the olive-grey hub is carefully restored and retained, its original casting marks preserved as part of the aircraft's authentic heritage. The struts are rebushed, bearings are replaced, and the entire assembly is tested for proper function and load-bearing capacity. The small tail wheel undergoes similar treatment, ensuring it will properly support the aircraft's tail section when reassembly is complete. The signature burnt orange-brown paint flows across the fuselage in precise, even coats. This is not a simple color. It is a carefully mixed tone that captures the exact shade of the original Luftwaffe finish, that distinctive orange-brown that gleamed under the sun of 1935. The wide white band is recreated with exacting measurements near the tail section, its edges crisp and its width matching historical specifications. The yellow 14 with dark outline, the geometric cross insignia in black and white, the small yellow circle with 100, each marking is reproduced with historical accuracy. The illustrated emblem returns to the cowling side, carefully recreated from reference materials. Those fine black technical maintenance lines are redrawn across panels with precision. The grey-green components, particularly the landing gear structure, receive their authentic finish. Each layer of paint is allowed to cure fully before the next is applied. The burnt orange-brown requires multiple coats to achieve the proper depth and brilliance. Between coats, the surface is lightly sanded to ensure perfect adhesion and a flawless final finish. The white band near the tail is masked with precision, the tape edges pressed down firmly to prevent any paint bleed that would compromise the sharp contrast between white and orange-brown. When the masking is removed, the line is razor-sharp, exactly as it would have been when the aircraft first rolled out of the factory decades ago. The markings demand absolute precision. The yellow 14, large and prominent on the fuselage side, is created using carefully cut stencils. The dark outline surrounding the yellow number is applied first, establishing the boundaries. Then the yellow fill is added, its brightness carefully calibrated to match period-accurate pigments. The geometric black-white cross insignia is measured and positioned with historical accuracy, its placement relative to the yellow 14 matching photographic references from the era. Near the tail's trailing edge, the small yellow circle is painted, and within it, the number 100 is added in contrasting color, completing this authentic detail. Reassembly brings the legend back to life. The black propeller blades, now restored to their original glossy finish, are mounted and positioned, their large curved surfaces catching and reflecting light. The white engine cowling gleams against the brilliant orange-brown fuselage, the contrast as striking as it was nearly 90 years ago. The canopy frame with its sequential rectangular windows is reinstalled, each pane of new glass fitted perfectly into the brown framework. The grey-green landing gear stands firm, its large wheel with dark tire and olive-grey hub now properly supporting the aircraft's weight. The small tail wheel is positioned correctly beneath the tail section. The vertical mast and cable behind the cockpit complete the authentic silhouette, the thin antenna wire now taut and properly tensioned. Under dramatic lighting, every detail reflects the meticulous craftsmanship, from the illustrated emblem on the cowling to the fine black maintenance lines across panels, from the prominent yellow 14 to the small yellow circle marking near the tail. The wing's dorsal surface, with its visible panel lines and metal seams, now gleams with the same burnt orange-brown brilliance as the fuselage. The gray metallic exhaust component on the upper nose section has been restored to its original finish, no longer buried under layers of oxidation. Every rivet sits flush, every panel aligns perfectly, every marking is positioned with historical accuracy. The aircraft that once lay abandoned in vegetation now stands as a tribute to aviation history, its restoration preserving a crucial piece of the past for future generations. The Messerschmitt Bf 109 has returned to life, not merely as a static display, but as a faithful recreation of how this legendary fighter appeared in 1935, when it represented the cutting edge of aviation technology and military engineering. From the two-blade black propeller to the small tail wheel, from the white cowling to the burnt orange fuselage, every element tells the story of painstaking dedication to authenticity and historical preservation.